How can we get past what's wrong with us? At the end of the day, we can get past what's wrong with us through building our own states. As I said, building our own states. There is documentation. If you look into the Constitution, Article 6, Clause 2, you will see that it says treaties is the law of the land. So that means that the treaty that was put together between the Sultan of Morocco at the time in 1787 supersedes the Constitution of America. We have the advantage here, but we are allowing ourselves to be disadvantaged. We're allowing ourselves to be disadvantaged because we are accepting ethnicity at best as a nationality. A nationality means that you're tied to a land. You're protected by that land. Many of you who call yourself American or African American, why would you call yourself African American when, first of all, you were born here in this land? Second of all, as an American, why would they have to put the 14th Amendment? Why would they have to do the Naturalization Act? Why would they have to do these things if you were truly an American? Why did Martin Luther King have to march for the civil rights? You have millions of other people here. What other people had to march for their civil rights? What? What other people? And, we talk about since Biden been in office, he's passed a law anti-Asians. Now, how does that make many of you feel? An anti-Asian law. At the end of the day, that's what you receive, the anti-Asian law. And the majority of you who voted for Biden are diehard Democrats thinking that he has your best interests at heart. And at the end of the day, what did you get? What do you receive? What did you receive when there was murders? There was murders. There's constant murders that's being committed. The George Floyd murder. His family was fighting to put a law together. They gave him 20 million or so, but they didn't put a law together to help black people. Why is that? Why didn't the so-called government that's supposed to protect you as an American citizen put a law together to protect you? You had people marching around talking about Black Lives Matter. Legally, they don't. Black lives don't exist. This is the information that you guys would have to acquire by listening to the impact study sessions and reading about the treaties that were made prior to so-called slavery. We've been taught that we've been slaves, but they never told us that we had them slaves. We, as our ancestors, had slaves as well. Now, it wasn't to a manner of degrading and devastation the way that they give us the image of what happened to us. But nevertheless, there were still people who were slaves. Now, for us, it seems, for many of us, we seem to take the narrative of post-slavery. Everything that's wrong with us is because our ancestors were slaves. No, everything that's wrong with us is because we are looking to another people, another tribe of people. And I have nothing against so called white people or any other people. However, I do have a love for the people that I am a part of who continue to call themselves black. And as I said earlier, I was one of them. But for me, if black is illegal, why would I want to be an outlaw? Why would I want to jeopardize my personal freedom by calling myself and acknowledging something that is illegal? It doesn't make sense. And we as a people have the ability to rearrange that. But we have to be willing to make the necessary changes and necessary sacrifices and have the discipline to be able to keep this cultural revolution going. We have to be able to do that. And that means not, realistically, I can't just tell you to stop acknowledging yourself as black because you've been doing it for years. But what I can ask of you is to decrease using it. Consider why it's so important. Why is it so important for Black history that they show the images that they show? Why is it so important that we get the images? And many of us talk about white supremacy. Where does white supremacy come from? How does white supremacy exist? Who keeps perpetuating white supremacy? At the end of the day, it's a color. It's not a people. White is not a people. White people are not a people. White is a color and people is just added to it. So we're talking about we hate white people because we black people, or white people keeping us down. No, we are keeping ourselves down right now because there's information that can change the dynamics of everything that's going on right now. We get the chance to get what we've always wanted, and it was nothing more than equality. Look at this government right now. Look at it. Look at what's going on around the world. Their time is up. They're unable to sustain humanity in a manner of equality. They're not capable of it because if they were, it would already be happening. They had enough time. The time is up now. It's time to, you know, for us to rise up and become the true leaders of the world. And we can't become the leaders of the world if we keep buying into the same old game of the white people got all the control. No, they don't have the control. We are giving away our control. We are giving away our own opportunity to be equal. Listen, what other people on the face of the earth are allowing people outside of them to govern them? What other people is doing that? Let's be real, people. You're my family. I love you. I'm here taking time out of my day to let you know that we've been doing it the wrong way. And that's okay because we didn't know no better. Now that we know better, we can actually do better. You dig what I'm saying? Because it's up to us to change our dynamics. No longer do we have to depend on anybody else outside of us to change our dynamics. We have the ability to do what they are doing. And what is it? It's create our own constitution, restore our three branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial, and get take all the treaties and do what it is that we need to do. But first, it has to start with acknowledging that we are no longer black. We're no longer African American. We no longer are people of color. And some of you may find this harsh, or you may say, I'm bugging. That's okay if you think I'm bugging. But I say to you, do your own research. Go to what I said, the Ampax study sessions. Sit there with Brother Bay. Look the information up as he go over it. I guarantee you'll change your perspective. And why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't we have the opportunity that many of our ancestors and previous leaders gave their lives for? Now it's time for us to do what it is that they weren't able to do because they didn't have the information that we have. Sure, they had the determination, and we have self determination, but we've brought into the hypocrisy. We brought into the lies. We brought into the game. Look at it this way. Look at it this way, family. Let's look at politics as a game. All right. So we had Obama as the president. How much really changed? He did a lot for, the LGBTQ community. He did put the Obamacare together. He did do something for indigenous people, but indigenous people, what does that mean to many of you out there? Do you even recognize yourself as indigenous people? Do you even recognize yourself as being the true owners of this land? I think not. I don't think you do because they've hoodwinked us. They've gamed on us so long with the old slavery syndrome, where they brought us here on the boats in 1692, and we've been slaves ever since until 1776. And the reality of 1776, they were still fighting for their independence from Britain. So, how could we've really been slaves for 400 years? We got to remember we're dealing with those who are the masters of lies and deceit. And we look at them as white people, but let's not get it twisted because there's a lot of people with lies and deceits that look just like this, look just like us, that's keeping this system going, keeping us dormant, keeping us asleep, keeping us snoozing. All right, what do we have to do? I already said it. I already said it, people. We have to open our eyes and realize that we've been lied to. As simple as that. We have been identity jacked. They jacked us for our identity. They had us to believe that we were African. They had us believe that we were African American. They had us believe that we're black. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. And that's what is holding us back right now. You know, you hear some good brothers. Charleston White, he and I was watching YouTube and they had like a debate. They was saying Charleston White and Dr. Umar, they would like for them to sit down and chop it up. However, they showed a few highlights of each of them saying why they wouldn't chop it up with the other. Both of them, you know, understand or say that white people are the problem. They both seem to have a genuine concern about us as a people. They both want to see us grow, as far as I can see. And they both have good points when you actually listen to what they're saying when they talk about our conditions. Now, the reason I'm saying this about the two good brothers is because in this cultural revolution, we don't have the luxury to be bickering with one another. What it we can disagree, because I disagree with both of them to a certain extent. I disagree with sometimes the position that Charleston White take when he says he wants to lock people up. I disagree with that. I agree when he says that people who are killing in our communities need to be checked. I definitely agree with that. They need to be checked. See, I grew up in a time where we weren't calling the police when something went wrong. We handled it ourselves. We handled that. We didn't call the police. Somebody do something wrong. We getting right on it. That's when I grew up. So I got him by some 15 years or so. Dr. Umar, brilliant, especially with the psychology part. He's brilliant when it comes to that. However, the Pan African movement is something that I don't completely agree with. It. Why? Because it's denying us our true right of the land that we are on now. This is why we have so much discourse between us because we don't know who we are. We're looking to Africa for the answer when really Africa is waiting on us. They already made their transition during the time where we were going through civil rights. They were building states. They were decolonizing themselves. So we behind, people. We behind. So at this point of the game, we only have the one option, and that's to build our government. Build our government. That's it. You know, with those treaties. Put acknowledge all the treaties, deposit them, promulgate them, and do what we need to do as a whole. We have to get together as one. As I said, we don't have the luxury to be bickering with each other. Yeah, we have the ability to disagree. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. However, let's take the common goal and the common cause so that we can move the pole. so that we can move the pole to the equality that we deserve. We deserve human rights, God given rights, not some rights that is written down by another people, a foreign people at that, a foreign people who came to our land and established their own government and basically overlapped ours. I mean, how much sense does that make for us realistically as a people? As many of you probably already have heard and already know that we populated the earth before any other people existed. So if that's the case, you don't think that we were intelligent enough, our ancestors, to travel around the world? You think that the Europeans were brilliant and they were able to build boats before we were able to? When you know that we were building pyramids, that our ancestors were building pyramids and doing heart surgeries and building 3 and 4 story buildings and building tombs out of gold and all of this type of stuff. You don't think that we had the capability to travel from other parts of the world to be here prior to them coming? And the real disservice that being black and African American does to us is it pigeonholes us to only being able to trace ourselves back to being slaves. And of course, that makes you feel like, okay, I was a slave. What else were you? And what it does, it perpetuates the mindset of the colonists, of those European individuals or other individuals that look at us as what are they good for? And worst of all, it makes us look at us as what are we good for? I mean, we have to start working on ourselves prior to, oh, in the midst of working towards reestablishing the 43 plus states that we're missing at this time. And many people say, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to change? What's going to change is you're going to have people that you get to elect that have your best interests at heart, that will be able to stand up for you in a manner that you haven't been able to stand up for yourself. And if that doesn't spark you to want to make the necessary changes, I don't know what will. What what else can we do? Okay, meanwhile, while we wait, we work on family structure. We work on getting past our differences. That's why I brought the two brothers up. So that, sure, we all have differences, we all have disagreements. However, our differences and our disagreements should not overweigh our commitment to making the necessary changes. And when I say that, that's to the cultural revolution of statehood, of a Moroccan state all over this land known as Morocco that has been called America in the United States. We have to make that change. We're here. We have the ability. We just have to get out of our own way. We're in the way right now. We no longer have to accept the conditions that we're in. We don't have to keep asking. We don't have to keep begging. We don't have to keep banging our heads against the wall. We know there's drug issues. We know there's children that don't have both parents. We know that there's economic problems. But these are things that we can work on simultaneously while we are reestablishing our states. Many of you yell reparations. When they're going to give us the reparations that we deserve for the 400 years of slavery? Your reparations is your state. Your reparations is learning and gaining from this information that has been withheld from us purposely to stop us from being able to put ourselves in our proper position. That's our reparations. Our other reparation is repairing our relationships between each other. That's what we have to do. We have to be able to repair the man and woman and the children. We have to be able to realize that there is a systematic design that our young people, uses our young people situation, their need for economics, their need for money, and blind them to dilute the rest of our young people. And when I say this, I'm talking to you young rappers, you young YouTubers. I'm talking to you and some of you middle-aged and older ones. We have to start being more in control of what we put out, what we consume. We have the ability to decrease being gravitated towards things that harm us as a culture. We have the ability to overcome all the obstacles that have been placed in front of us that make us feel like we don't deserve better. We have the ability to govern ourselves. We have the ability to save humanity. We are some of the most spiritual, kind hearted people that exist on the face of the earth. However, we have been gamed with images, and the colonists utilizes these images to create a mindset that keeps us discombobulated. And by being discombobulated, we're distracted. We're distracted and not able to see the game. That's why I'm here. This is called Peep the Game, because I done peeped it. I see it. So I'm here to just give it to you. I'm here to feed it to you. I'm here to let you see that they've been gaming on us for years, and they're going to continue to game on us unless we get our team right, get our players in position, and then make the game equal. That's what we have to do. We have to make the game equal, and we have the ability. No longer am I going to be saying what I used to say, where I used to say, the white man got us this way. The white man got us, under control. The white man got everything. No, they don't. They just holding on to it. They're holding on to our belongings. And the way that we get our belongings back is we have to reclaim who we really are. And they know this. They know that what they're holding on to is not theirs. They know that what they're doing is basically hanging on. They just hanging on. They're hanging on for dear life because once we get rid of black, we get rid of African American, we get rid of person of color, we stop beefing. We don't have that beef that we have because we're not looking at each other as a color. We're looking at each other as who we were, and our ancestors will wake up. You know what I mean? Our ancestors don't have to be in pain. Our ancestors can reconnect with us, and we can thrive and become the people that we are truly meant to be, not the people that was created. See, black is a creation. African American is a creation. So when you be created, that means whoever creates you controls you. So we have to recreate ourselves and connect with the true creator of all things in existence, the true dominant power that is within us. It seems complicated, people. It seems difficult. It seems like this thing can never happen, but it can. Just look at the progress we've made with the deck stacked against us. Look at the laws that they put in place that forbid us from going to our ancestors from going to certain places. When they put banks together and they charge us higher interest, they lock us up at this disproportional rates. You know, anytime something's bad or something that can cause hardship between the people, it seems that we're high on the level with that. But anything that has to do with progress, we seem to be shrinking. And many of you look up to entertainers and athletes and things of that nature. And they've got you brainwashed. They're gaming you, making you think that money is the only power. No, don't get me wrong. Money gives you some power, but without intelligence on how to utilize that money, it's just a tool that's being misused. And how many of you who have access to major money know how to manage that money, know how to make that money work for you? How many? I mean, we see individuals. Look at the situation with Puffy right now, supposedly a millionaire, and they coming at him. So who's going to protect him? I mean, I don't know if they're guilty of what they say they are. You know, R. Kelly. You don't even hear from R. Kelly anymore. You don't even hear his name. And Grant you, if he did what he did, he deserved to serve time for it. However, does that mean that they need to control his money? Shouldn't his family, shouldn't his wife and daughter, who was part of the reason of him, his demise, be able to control it, get his money? I mean, these are things that being an American citizen, you know, called it gets you have no control over. We already see that this foreign entity, whom we call America or the United States, is not going to be fair with us. We already see that. And if we don't do what we are capable of, then we're going to get more of the same. And to this point, it won't even be a reason for us to complain because once you have information that can free you from a situation, now the blame don't become on the people who doing it to you. The blame becomes on you. You become the one to blame. You become the problem. We now, with this recent information, if we don't utilize this recent information, then we're the problem. We're the ones who need to make the necessary changes. We're the ones who have the ability to overturn what we have been volunteered for subconsciously. I mean, what more can I say when it comes to us as a people? A brilliant, loving, strong, compassionate, powerful people. We, that's who we are. We can't continue to allow other people to dictate who we are. It's no longer that time. We're in a cultural revolution, and this is not a movement because all our movements fall to the wayside. This is not a movement, people. This is a cultural revolution, and this don't stop. It don't stop. It don't end until we win. And then it continues even after we win. We are in a game. We're losing badly. We zero in who knows how much when it comes to the game. So now that we done peeped the game, now we know how to play the game. Now let's get our team together and start playing this game properly. Let's start winning the game. Let's start doing what we need to do. And grant you, this don't mean hate so-called white people. This don't mean dislike so-called white people. My thing is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship says that we supposed to work together, trade, trade, do trade, work together. So I'm not opposed to working with the Europeans. However, I do want the people that I belong to be in a better position. Not a few of us, not a few celebrities, but the lowest. And that's the part that I like to hear about Charleston White. He seems to have a passion for the ones who are struggling, as well as Dr. Umar. We want to get the struggling people. We want the equality. Otherwise, we're no better than the colonizer. We're colonizing our own if we don't decide to uplift the downtrodden, uplift the people who are struggling, put something together so that they don't have to struggle so much. We don't have to continue to deal with what we're dealing with. I don't want to be talking about what we can't do or what other people have power over us. I don't want to be that person. I'm the person who wants to motivate us. I'm the coach. You know what I mean? I want to coach. I want to be the cheerleader for us. I want to be the motivator so that we can be motivated to make the changes that we need to change to get us where we need to be. It's on us, people. If we don't do it, nobody's going to do it for us. We know that. We see that. We hear it. There's no other way except statehood, putting together a constitution, your own constitution for each state, ratifying it, deposit it, and promulgate it. That's what you do with the treaties and after you get your constitution together. This is what we have to do, people. You're my family. I love you. Share this, like, and subscribe if you already have it. So, till next time, I love you. I want you to love each other. Peace.